Hello everyone. In this video, we'll be looking at the game between Adolf Anderssen and Lionel Kazaretsky. This game was actually played in an informal. It is an informal game played during a break of the first international tournament, and Anderson is playing with the white pieces, and Kazaretsky is playing with black pieces. And the game involves many sacrifices by Anderson, and in the 19th century these games, mostly gambits were played, and it was the romantic era of chess, and this game was played in the 19th century, and there were many gambits and counter gambits, and in this game also the king's gambit is played, and this game was nicknamed the immortal game in 1855 by the Austrian chess master Ernst Falkbeer. So let's let into the game get into the game, and the move is e4 and e5. So after this, f4 is being played. So the point of this is called as the king's gambit, and the point of this opening is that white is actually trying to take the full control of the center with the use of this f pawn, which is a flank pawn, and if black accepts the gambit, white immediately plays something like d4 in which is captivating the whole center, and in the 19th century there were more gambits, and people used to accept the gambits, and Kazaretsky accepted it, and actually in this black is giving threats to white in this opening and this position. The immediate threat is that queen to h4, and if this pawn is not in this square or this square, it will be definitely a checkmate. So somehow white should stop it, and there are three ways, and they are the three main lines. One of them is knight to f3. This move immediately stops queen to h4, and another move is bishop to e2. This move frees up the f1 square for the king to move immediately after the queen comes here and checks the opponent. And after that, the next move is bishop to c4. This move also gives the same purpose, just to free up this square when the queen comes here and gives a check. And not only that reason, but it is also that it attacks the weakest square of black, the f7 square, and this move bishop to c4 was played by the Bobby Fischer in many games, and this is called as the bishop's gambit, and indeed in the game this move was played, and after that queen to h4 check as expected, and after that the king moved here. Then knight to f6 was played, and in the idea of attacking this pawn, knight was attacking, but Anderson didn't care and went to attack Kazaretsky's queen, and the queen retreated, and then d3 was played. A better move could have been d4, captivating the full center, but Anderson wanted to make the game interesting and played the move d3. After that, b5 was played. Actually, this move should not be played, and in those times people used to say, when we play a gambit, the opponent used to give away a pawn so that the opponent tries to win the game. So after this, Anderson took the pawn, and knight to h5 was played here. The idea is that after knight to g3, that is a fork. So because if white plays something like knight c3, and if knight comes here, and you can't take with this because of this check, the rook will be hanging, and so you can't play that. And so after that, knight to h4 was played. This move cuts off the queen from attacking, and the knight can't come here still, because after knight comes here we can just simply take and the rook's diagonal will be open. So after that, queen g5 was played, attacking this knight, and the best option is knight to f4, and it was played in the game. After that, c6 was played, attacking this bishop. And actually Adolf Anderssen was a very attacking player, and the next move shows how he's an attacking player. So g4 was played and knight to f6 was played. Then another attacking move, rook to g1 was played, and after c takes b5, Anderssen just played h4. The queen has to go back, and again it cannot go here because of the knight, so it has to go here and here, then here. So after that, Anderssen played queen to f3, and the queen in the idea of bishop to f4. So he has to free some space, and for that he played knight to g8, and he took the pawn. Now if we see, the development of black's pieces is very poor and dreadful. White has developed almost all of its pieces, and black played here queen to f6 in the idea of attacking this pawn and winning the rook. So to stop that, knight to c3 was played, and after that bishop c5 was played in the to attack the rook. And after that Anderssen attacked the queen, and Kizretsky took the pawn on b2. So after that bishop d6 was played here. It was a very nice move because the pieces are getting close to the king, and they are going to checkmate the opponent's king. Here the best move would be to just take with this queen, and the king would come here. The king would come here, and you could just go here back, and if they take, you take, and they play something like this, and you win a rook, and you are just materially up. And the next move played instead was bishop takes g1. This move was not the best move. So after this e5 was played. Actually in this position the bishop should have not come to the square, as he should have not left the given the whole control of the diagonal to the white bishop. So after that e5 was played. e5, this is a very subtle and quiet move, but this is one of the best moves in this game. So after this, queen takes a1, and two rooks are gone, and the king has to come here. Now Kizretsky's mind lit up with only one move, which is knight to c7. He was so concerned about that, and he played a6, which was absolutely a blunder, because after knight takes g7 there's a beautiful checkmate which was coming, and he didn't know that. So after king d8, which was a forced move, a very nice beautiful move was played here. A very nice brilliant queen sacrifice, queen f6 check. So black is will have definitely take this with the knight, or else it is very hard to win. It is almost a checkmate. So after knight takes f6, bishop to e7 is a beautiful smothered checkmate. So this game indeed is really an immortal game for white, and Anderssen played it very nice. And the opening was king's gambit accepted line, and it was the bishop's gambit, and the bold sacrifices made by Anderssen secure the victory. And it was one of the popular games of all time, and this was the original immortal game. And if you see at the position he just has only 3 minor pieces, and he has won the whole game. And if you just look at the points, Lionel Kesaretsky has 21 points more, and he has all the pieces, minor pieces, major pieces, and everything. But his position is very bad because he didn't develop any piece at the beginning. So this game indeed was an immortal game, and I'll be showing you many immortal games of many chess players. Spassky is immortal. Then I have posted Fischer's immortal, which is the game of the century. Then Kasparov's immortal, I have posted a video on that, and please do watch it. And I'll post on Anand's immortal, which I think it took place in 2013. It was played against Levon Aronian, and it was a very nice game. I will be posting a video on that. Next video I will be posting on the gold coins game. And bye bye.